You're listening to Houston's longest-running sports radio morning show. From the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's John and Lance.
All right, we got to pretty much everything today, but we didn't get to Vontae Davis's death.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Or
35 years old.
Indianapolis Colts and some other place he was, because I remember he quit in the middle of a game.
Well, he quit with the Bills, right?
Yeah, he was with the Bills.
But he started
It
with
was
the
the
Dolphins.
second week of the season, and watching some of the guys talk about it, they were like, dude, why did you go through camp? Why did you do all this? And you quit during the second game of the season at halftime. And he was telling the coaches, yeah, I'm done.
Was there a roster bonus involved? Maybe it was just, I don't want to do this anymore. But he left at halftime.
At halftime.
At halftime, he just said, I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. And he died, and they don't know. I
haven't heard anything, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't heard any of the reason yet, but it just is, it's 35. Man, that dude is just too young. Vernon Davis's brother, the big tight end.
Yeah.
But he's best known for just quitting at halftime. I don't remember a player ever doing that. Do you? I don't know.
Well, Antonio Brown, not at halftime.
He
But
quit right there on the field.
Right there on the
took
field.
off his uniform. Vontae Davis, known also for Hard Knocks, when it was Joe Philbin and the Dolphins, and they cut him on Hard Knocks, and they brought him in. They showed him getting cut. I don't think they've ever have they done that since? Have a guy come in and the coach?
I don't know. I haven't watched the last 2 years.
Well, this was back in
This is a while back. This is when I was watching them
2011,
religiously.
12 or something.
Yeah.
That's that's a sad story. That's a really sad story. 35 years old. You're just way, way, way too young. Anything else that we did not hit on? The Yankees have won 5 straight. The Dodgers continue to win. Just want to make me throw up. They just want, both those teams just want to make me.
Are you going to accept that they're going to be pretty good this year?
They are going to be really good this year, and I'm going to be miserable for most of the season.
You don't have
They
to
were never not going to be
focus
good.
on them. You're going to be miserable all year then.
It's going to take a tremendous amount of injuries for them not to be the best team in baseball.
I don't wish that on them, but
The Yankees are going to be good. The Dodgers are going to be incredible. And, yeah, it's going to be – I mean, other teams are going to be good too. I'm worried about my own team. I'm just worried about getting in the playoffs. That's it.
Did you guys –
It's good news yesterday that Justin Verlander threw 52 pitches in 3 innings. A little bit high of a pitch count, but that's – he may have been working on stuff too, so that's good. And Garcia was through 15 pitches. It may sound like nothing, but the Astros are saying he's ahead of schedule for where he should be. So this is it's good. It's good. You have a chance to Luis Garcia ahead of schedule, Justin Verlander, I guess, on schedule, but moving forward. So these are both good things.
Did you guys see the Athletics? This Estuary Ruiz, he got 3 hits in his first 7 at bats. He's got a 1,200 OPS. You know what they did? Sent him down. He's playing too well.
Yeah, you're too good.
He's too good. He's just too good. He's got a 1,232 OPS, and they said, nah, you got to go.
Well, it's about that. It's kind of early for them to do it, but the Spurs kind of doing something similar. Like, hey, Sohan, Vassell. I mean, we've been playing competitive basketball. You're done. We're trying to stay in that top 4, top 3 area. If you guys keep playing, we might fall out. So bye. Just sit down for the rest of the year.
Have you guys heard? Like what's the hype on the? It's nowhere near what it was last year for Wemby.
The draft,
yeah,
it's considered one of the worst drafts in a bit.
And the Rockets are considered. I mean, I guess Reed Shepherd has even fallen past them now. That's how bad he was in that game. I'm not going to go by that one game. If you had your druthers for the Rockets this draft, wouldn't it be for a shooter, an outside shooter?
I mean, I'd like a
being
shooter
nice
on a team.
to have a marksman.
I like a shooter on a team. I just don't know they're just not going to be able to play early.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody they get in this draft is going to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not where we're sitting right now.
No.
You're not going
and
to.
yet,
I mean,
this is still a 500
Whitmore's
team.
got to play. Amen's got to play. Van Vliet's going to play. Jalen's playing as long as he's a Rocket. And if he's not a Rocket, Cam Whitmore's playing. Like, if you get a guy, he needs to be able to play between the 1 and the 2. And if Amen's basically just 1, 2, 3. I don't know what. I just know Amen grabs a ton of boards. Are we sure Amen's done growing also? He's still very young. The guy feels like he's 6'8". He feels like he's about 6'10".
And he's doing pretty damn good at power forward. I don't know about moving him to point.
I mean, that's his natural position, but I don't know if there is a natural position for him. Yeah, you probably want a combo 1-2 type guy.
Yeah.
Who can swing that way.
I don't know. I just like to get a shooter for a change. A guy who hit 42, 43%.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, but those guys are out there. And the Rockets never seem to get them. And they take all kinds of threes. Get one of those guys.
Who's the last Rocket that was in a three-point shootout in the All-Star game?
Was there one? Has there ever been one?
I don't remember a Rockets three-point shooter. Was Eric Gordon ever in one?
Oh, yeah, he was. Eric Gordon was.
Eric was? Okay.
Yeah. Eric Gordon has.
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Corey Brewer, I don't think.
Oh, no.
Was Josh headband Josh Smith? Was he ever in the three-point? Was Josh Smith in the three-point shooting?
No, he wasn't. Was Steve ever?
Nope.
Was Steve in a three-point? Oh, he was in a
dunk
slam
contest.
dunk. Yeah. He was in a slam dunk.
Eric Gordon won the 2017 three-point
so he won.
contest.
Yeah, that's right. He did win.
Yeah.
There you go. What Rocket has ever won a slam dunk contest?
None.
None,
Ever?
No Rocket.
No Rocket?
What Rocket competed in the very first comeback slam dunk contest? The one that came back in 1983, I believe. When the dunk contest came back, I didn't miss these at all. I wrote about it in my junior high
I don't know.
paper.
Well, Kenny Smith was in the 93 dunk contest and the three-point contest. He participated in both.
In
same
93
year.
with the Rockets. Okay,
Yeah.
because he won it with the Kings.
Well, yeah, he doubled
Was
up.
between the – wow, I don't remember Kenny Smith doing that, but it was Ralph Sampson was in the first dunk contest. Larry Nance won it. Dr. J was like second. And then Ralph was
83 was the first one?
Yeah, I mean, they had one previously with David Thompson.
I remember Larry Nance winning it, yeah.
When they came back, yeah, Ralph was in the first one, but they didn't show it live. You just got to, like, Ralph did a 360 dunk, and he was eliminated early. They just showed a few dunks for different guys. But and then Larry Nance won it by dunking with one hand and then another hand. You go back and look at even Jordan versus Dominique. I'll admit this. A lot of power dunks from Dominique. Jordan did some really cool stuff. But when you compare it to what they're doing now, it's literally – now, you got people who will do nothing but work on this. Michael Jordan –
now you got – he doesn't even play in a league.
Right.
What do you mean?
Right, exactly. Exactly. And if you notice, most of these guys are not very good players.
Yeah. Yeah, because they concentrate on dunking.
Well, Jaylen Brown was in it, and he tried to bring the star quality back, except he was terrible.
Jalen Green needs to do it.
No, he did do it. You forgot.
No, but he needs to do it now. He's a different guy now.
No, Jalen sucked. He was horrible.
But
it was embarrassing.
He's better now.
No, you didn't watch it. You have to try to do crazy dunks. Jalen was awful. He cannot do this anymore.
Now he's a different guy. Well, I'm going to tell you what. Just take his dunks from in games as opposed to what he did in the contest.
What? We're too good for dunk contests. Ime's new. You know what? If you got one where you can defensive slide drill and get your hand in the open passing lane contest, that's Amen Thompson's going to win that. Tip. Do they have a loose ball award where you also try to tip balls that are thrown in the passing lane or grab offensive boards? That's what Ime Udoka wants his players to do. Oh, do you have that contest in the All-Star weekend? No. Yeah, it's not a cool.
That's not cool.
Slide, get on the floor after the loose ball. Amen Thompson would destroy everybody. Him and Tari Eason. It would just be full of Rockets. Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Jock Landale. I'm going to put him in there.
No, Jock Landale. Did you
Jabari.
Guys get taken by any April Fool's jokes?
No, they don't do them anymore.
I did see one that said the Texans had traded Kenyon Green.
People are too serious
for
now.
Derek Brown.
They're not for –
do what?
For Derek Brown, the defensive tackle. I mean, there a couple I saw. I didn't – but I
knew right away.
But then I got to them and pointed out that they're a joke on the show. Like, I really wanted this one to be true, and we talked about it yesterday, that Florida Atlantic and USF were going to play a football game on an aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Like they used to do with basketball, except they were in port, but this one, they're going to actually be moving in the Atlantic Ocean while playing the game. I really wanted that to be true.
Because I did see the aircraft carrier with the football field on it.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was like, I don't know what this is.
Well, FAU, their official account, tweeted it, and I was praying that Tom Herman had agreed to this.
Did you hear Darko's?
The coach for
He's got jokes
for the Raptors.
He's got jokes. Here's Darko Rajakovic. Here's him after practice yesterday.
Offense and defense. I praised guys for doing an amazing job defensively as a part of April Fool's Day. 135 points was definitely not something that we are aspiring to. But all jokes aside, we really focused on talking about what we need to do better defensively. Majority of that being transition defense, not allowing easy points, just having responsibilities, what we need to do there.
Okay.
And then practicing this walk through a couple
don't
of things.
you? I mean, honestly, I like Ime, but don't you wish we had Darko as a head coach?
I want a serious guy. Nope.
No, but I want to hear him every day.
No, because he'd be joking with the players. Oh, well, yeah.
I want to hear
Just
that.
hear him talk. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
That's an aesthetic thing.
You heard him, the joke he made about defense. In reference, the reference was because in their last two games they gave up 145 and then 135.
They tell them what great defense they play.
I joke. I praise the guys. A joke. They're terrible. They're a terrible team.
And
I joke and tell them they're good. They're bad. Very bad.
You mean 140 over 2 games? An average of 140 is bad?
April Fools, you suck.
Don't you wish we had that?
Well, yeah, but also I like that. We needed
Why can't
Ime
we
Udoka.
have Darko?
No, we need Ime to get things.
He's never joking like that.
Would you rather have Darko or your coach?
Had jokes.
Ime's like Belichick.
No, would you rather have Darko or your coach calling LeBron a soft-ass boy? Which one would you rather want?
Soft-ass boy.
I want Darko.
No.
Yes.
Ime Udoka. You're going to get in trouble with the Rockets again.
I don't care. I want Darko. I want to hear him every day.
Just watch him on YouTube.
You suck. A team
Just
suck.
watch him on
Everybody
YouTube.
suck.
That's
all.
You want Darko
Good
to
night.
talk about Scotty Barnes as the face of the league?
Scotty
he
Barnes,
said that
face
out
of
loud.
league.
Jalen Green, face of league?
Yes. Jalen Green. LP. Oh, very good. Great player. Switches wonderfully. Turkey, great country.
I don't know if we want to play those games.
Yes.
I've had my fill of that game.
I know you have. We got to break it here. And we got News of the Weird coming your way next right here on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. But first, Lance, you need to talk about Vanderford.
Vanderford Air is, a great company. Vanderford Air is a company it's an air conditioning company, one that you can trust. I recently had them come out to my home. I wanted them to check through everything. And what they do is the checkpoint system they give you is fantastic. They go through clean lines. They do work for you. They tune up the air conditioner. And if you have any issues, if you know you have issues, and we're headed into the hot season, and you know how long it lasted last year, you cannot afford to have a weak air conditioner, one that's not working properly, because number one, it's going to stay on all day long, and your electric bills are going to be sky high. The second thing is you're going to be paying that much money, and let's face it, if it's not working properly, you're not going to be cool like you should be. Vanderford Air will come out, find out what's going wrong. If there's anything going wrong, what they'll do is they'll give you a price to fix it, and if it can be fixed, they will tell you it can be fixed. If it can be fixed, but you also want to get a price for what a new system might look like, they can give you a pricing on that. They change out the lines up in the attic. Everything's brand new. It's beautiful. But the best part is they're going to find a unit that is right for your home. They check the heat loads in every room so that you get the right type of system size-wise that makes the most sense for you, not only from a cooling standpoint, but from an efficiency standpoint. It's Vanderford Air. This is a company you can trust. They have 0% financing available for you. Ask about details for that. Never any emergency charges also. So if something's going wrong with your AC, you can give them a call. They're not going to hit you with these crazy rates because it's an emergency. That's the difference with Vanderford Air. Go to vanderfordair.com or call 281-557-COOL.
According to a professor in Japan, by the year 2531, everyone in Japan is going to be named Sato. The surname grew at an alarming rate between 2022 and 23 of 0.83%. And by the year 2531, everyone is going to be Sato-san.
So surname means last name.
Last
right?
name.
So are people changing their name to Sato?
Well, apparently the Sato males are really
procreating, huh?
Procreating at a level never before
Who are they
known.
praying? Who are they praying to, John?
Oh.
Who's the patron saint of procreation?
Oh.
Who are they praying to?
Who is it?
Sato?
Sato-san.
They're praying to Jalen.
Jalen is.
No.
Oh, that's right.
We're not doing that joke still.
Yeah, we
We're off
forgot
that
that
joke.
already. 25% of Gen Zers say they're going to need a therapist to deal with filing taxes this year.
That can't be true.
True. Yep. Here's the you Gen Zers out there, they need therapy to get through tax season, and government should help out in it. I think Joe Biden said he's gonna give everybody therapy money.
I don't think he said that.
Apparently,
Therapy money.
UK minister says people should not be arrested just because they smell. Do you feel like smelly people should be arrested?
It's offensive, but I don't know if it gets up to the point of an arrest. Maybe a citation. You get fined for stinking. I think that's embarrassing enough.
Well, that would be embarrassing
stinky
enough, but is that a
citation?
big enough deterrent?
If you got hit with the $150 fine for stinky, I think it would change things for people.
Stop stinking, people. Just take a bath or something.
Put on some deodorant.
Throw a little deodorant on. Do you hear about this guy that people think is cheating because of a vibrator that he's using?
Cheating on what?
Cheating at chess.
Oh,
yeah, that's been out there, and
Yeah.
it's implanted.
Yeah.
Well, it's not implanted. It's inside of him.
Yeah. Well,
inside
apparently,
a vibrator's inside
St.
of him?
Louis says that they're offering free vibrators to everybody to make the level playing field for everyone.
Who's offering this?
St. Louis Chess, the St. Louis
Oh,
Chess
I thought
Club.
it was like Cindy's.
No.
Or
Do
Adam
you
and
want?
Eve.
Do you want to play chess with a vibrator?
Where's the vibrator?
Just stop
chess?
it. Just stop it.
John.
Do you want to play chess? And I'm
Stop,
out.
John, don't do what you did.
Yeah, it's
He's
the A word.
He's like,
It's right there.
That's where you put it.
That's where you put it.
No, I don't want. No, I don't want to play chess that way.
See, this is a news of the weird story, but not to me. Apparently, a bride is upset. The groom left the wedding early to go to the bar with his friends.
How early?
Well, I don't know. He skipped part of their wedding day because he went to the pub with his boys.
That ain't making it.
It doesn't seem like that's that weird to me.
That's not going to make it.
That's not going to be a long.
I don't know
lasting.
that marriage is going to make it.
She's never going to let him forget. It's over before it began.
Well, yeah. I mean, if he's leaving if he's leaving the wedding
He
to go
can't
to
even hang out with you on the biggest day of your life. He can't even
do that.
He can't spend that time with you. It's over.
That's a bad foreshadowing right
Yeah.
there.
I don't think this is going to last.
This is as good as it's going to get for you, and I still left.
Unless she doesn't really want him around that much, then it's fine.
Well,
Unless this was an arrangement, like a green card
No, this
marriage.
was English. He went to the pub.
It's not a green card marriage?
Not a green card marriage.
Because then it would make some sense.
Yeah, but no. He's enthusiastic about the pub with his buddies.
Or he really doesn't like you very much.
Or that's it. Time to talk about Houston Safe and Lock. I like them. I like Derek. Derek texted me. He said, hey, the Final Four is coming. So last week we did the Sweet 16. Anybody wanted to buy a safe, they picked the winner of the big game on April 8th, men's basketball championship. They would get 50% off their safe. Well, now there's only 4 teams left. 4 teams left. You think you can pick the winner? Yeah, you think you can. Well, guess what? If you buy a new safe from Houston Safe and Lock or King Safe and Lock, which is on Wharton I-10, or Houston Safe and Lock, which is on Westheimer and the Beltway, you buy a new safe from Derek, you pick the winner of the April 8th game, and you are the men's basketball championship, and you are going to get 50% off that safe. Listen, if you need one, now's the best time ever. Go to Houston Safe and Lock or King Safe and Lock and get your safe on, because you are going to get 50% back if you can pick the winner of the April 8th game. My friends, there's never been a better time to buy a safe. If you need one, this is it. New safe, Houston Safe and Lock, 50% off if you pick the winner of the championship game on April 8th of the men's basketball tournament. Good night.
Welcome in to the show. And I can't think of a better palate cleanser if you're an Astro fan last night. Yet Ronel Blanco throwing a no-hitter. You know, the 30-year-old, I won't call him a journeyman, but not a lot was expected of him. He has a really good spring. He is your fifth starter, and he is coming in on a night where you don't have Hader, you don't have Abreu. Espada told us before the game those guys weren't going to be available, and the daunting thought of Ryan Presley having to come in and potentially close the game after his struggles and the rest of the bullpen, you're like, oof, this could get bad. Toronto has a pretty good lineup, and he comes in and goes, try to hit this changeup. And Toronto could not. Ronel Blanco throws a no-hitter, and there was joy back on the timeline yesterday. People in the building were excited, as you might imagine, but the timeline felt good. The bats were awake, all things positive, and of course, it was time for agendas to come into play. I consider what was going on performative, but you saw a lot of tweets about watching Yainer Diaz catch this game makes me even madder at Dusty. He's catching a no-hitter, but he couldn't catch last year. Relax, people. You're not that upset. And if you are still upset with Dusty Baker, time to let it go. The Astros maybe didn't play their best lineups on a night-to-night basis because Dusty had other ideas. At least his ideas were in contrast to what you believed. But they didn't not win a World Series because of Dusty and his lineups and Yainer not playing. The inability to win home games was the reason for that. So let go of the anger of Dusty. Enjoy Ronel Blanco. Enjoy what happened last night. Feel good that with the Jays in town, that the bats woke up. You got contributions. And even not only did Abreu make plays, Sean, he got a hit. So the potential 0 for 20 that we discussed yesterday is off the board. We can breathe a sigh of relief.
Jose Abreu could breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, we were fine either way. You make a point there.
If anything,
You're like, whatever.
Yeah, can we get to Wednesday and make it a show bit or something?
To your point, Jose Abreu was good in the field, made a couple big plays in the knife. Look, I think Mauricio Dubon was laughing at it, but Mauricio Dubon almost smoked that throw. It was an awkward play. Yes, that last down. You could tell. At least I was looking at his face as he was looking at Abreu, and Abreu's like, "What are you doing, man?" And Dubon's like, "Hey, man, hey." He was brought in. Altuve done for the night. So Dubon was at second, and it was close. He was close to throwing that ball away, and he gave a little look to Abreu. So Abreu showed his worth on the defensive end last night, and he gets his hit. So he's off the snide there. But really, overall, a good night, and we can all relax. The Astros won a home game in their Space City uniforms, which people think are a curse. The Monday Space City stuff broke a string of going 0 for 4 at home, and you can watch the Yankee series aside. I don't know if it's a restart because, those 4 games are going to matter, particularly if you're not running away with the AL West come September. So losing those 4 at home is going to matter, but that's a long way away, and you can breathe. You're off the schneid. Espada gets his first win, which is great, and maybe the sky isn't falling. But we all know it's until the next starter, and if Fromber is Fromber again, then we have more concerns. And the Fromber that I reference is the one we saw last year and the one we saw in Game 1 against the Yankees, where he was there for the Astros starters up until Blanco, and maybe exclude Javier. They've been there for a good time, not a long time. When we talk about their outings, and Blanco, because of what he was doing, got a chance to get into the 9th inning and close it out. And I gotta admit, I didn't know. I was aware because Brian McTaggart made me aware. You're not gonna blame me for jinxing a no-hitter. That's his thing. That's his bit. Frankly, he should keep track of the records. Like every time he comments on a no-hitter, we should know if it gets there and the no-hitter is complete or it fails, because he can talk about not jinxing one, but I need numbers. So it loses its impact if I don't know that he's 7-8 when it comes to no-hitters versus non-no-hitters, because he talked about it.
I was gonna say the Astros throw so many no-hitters.
They do throw a lot of them.
So of any beat writer in the league, he's got to be tops, because every time it comes up, he lets the people know that, hey, Ronel Blanco has a no-hitter through 4 innings.
Yeah.
Which is a bit aggressive.
That's early too, by the way.
That is so
What's
early.
the point where you start talking about, like, even if you're a guy who's going to say jinxes don't mean are not real, and I'm kind of there with them. I wouldn't take to Twitter to post about it because I'm not interested in starting a back and forth with people who go, you can't do that. So what's the number? 5th inning? If you get through 5, you can start talking about a no-hitter in a serious way, because 4 is a little early.
Yeah, I'm like you. To me, it's not a jinx thing so much as it is like is this notable kind of thing, where it's like if you've given up no hits through 4 innings, that's notable, I guess, but it's not like groundbreaking.
No, it isn't.
It's like, oh, okay, he's
having
start.
He's having a good outing so far.
Yeah, so I would say like 5th inning is when you can start calling it a no-hitter. Like you get through the 5th inning.
Where you actually have a win on the table.
Yes.
When you are eligible, when you qualify for a win, then we start talking about what achievements you can accomplish. And credit the Astros offense for making it easy on Blanco. There weren't many stressful innings, noted by him not giving up any hits and a couple walks.
Well,
but the bats were alive, so he didn't have to worry about keeping a game close. He can just go out there and throw the baseball.
It was also a perfect game, except for the first walking George Springer twice.
Yes,
that was a perfect game.
That was how good he was.
It was 25 straight outs of a perfect game.
Damn, George Springer's good eye at the plate. Who knows what could have happened if George Springer would just swing at a ball he shouldn't have swung at, which a lot of Blue Jays did last night.
That's the George Springer I remember.
Yeah.
Swinging so hard it's like helmet falls off.
Yeah, what are we doing? Revert back to that for a night. Stop having plate discipline. But despite George's willingness or unwillingness to swing at bad pitches, Ronel Blanco, give him all the credit in the world, man. The story is he's a 30-year-old. I think he signed for $5,000 about almost a decade ago at the Astros, and now he is one of many, as Sean points out, Astro pitchers to throw a no-hitter. It is what the Astros do, whether it be the combined no-hitter or the more acclaimed full 9 innings from a pitcher. This is what they do. I think since 1962 they have the most no-hitters thrown by a major league franchise, and 62 is when they came into existence. So if we're talking about since the Astros were conscious as a franchise, they lead the league in no-hitters. I think the Dodgers overall, but the Dodgers have been around since forever. So that's why that number is where it is. But you can't mess with the Astros when it comes to not allowing hits. So not only have they been a really good team overall, they've been one that will set and make history over and over again.
Yeah, I think I saw the stat. There's like so many stats, of course, right after it happens. I think it was like 6 no-hitters, including the postseason, since 2019, and no other team has 2.
Yeah,
it's
remarkable.
So many more no-hitters.
Yeah, and Ronel Blanco does it in his 8th start. For some of his background, he was working in a car wash as he was trying to make ends meet. So this is a guy who's he's been on the grind, if you want to put it that way, trying to make his mark. And very hard to do it here when you have so many guys who can be starting pitchers who have pitched in important games. But we know the injuries to Verlander and Urquidy opened up a spot, and he took full advantage of it. It was a really good night. We had that. We avoided a race war started by women's college basketball. It was all good last night. We'll get into some of that, the basketball, as far as your narratives on Twitter. You can save that. But we had the Ronel Blanco thing. We have a doubleheader in women's basketball, and the ratings will come out, and I'm sure they'll be astronomical. Look, I was part of it. I watched it. I wanted to watch LSU in Iowa. I did that, and I watched a lot of UConn and USC when it wasn't diverting my attention from Ronel Blanco. And our favorite, Juju Watkins, pretty unstoppable going to the hole. The jumper, at least last night, needs some work. Paige Beckers was was really, really good late in that game. USC was making a run, and they started running stuff for Beckers, and she knocked down shot after shot to give UConn the winning margin. So a good night all around. You got an Astros win. We can all relax, and we also had a nice night in a sport that deserves the attention but hasn't gotten it very much recently. Well, it hasn't gotten it very much over the course of my lifetime, but that is certainly changing. And the basketball itself, I think I respect women's basketball the most because they play quarters. Men's basketball, what are we doing? It is why I get it. Maybe you want to keep your game unique, but you're the only ones who do it. I think quarters are in high school basketball.
No, they're the only men's college basketball is the only
one
halves in the world. And
you had Caitlin Clark play 40 minutes. Another player for Iowa played 40 minutes. Angel Reese probably would have played 40 minutes if she didn't foul out. The quarter timeouts, the ability to call timeout, the official timeouts. You want your best players on the floor as much as you can. Now, some guys in college basketball will play 40 minutes no matter what. And we have the under 16, under 12. We all know that. But give them quarters.
It's also the bonus situation with the fouls.
Yeah, 5 fouls.
Teams don't get into the bonus with 10 minutes left in a half.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because it's play. They play it the right way. Sure, they can't mark out the distance for a 3-point line. Sure, they can't do that. Yeah. But they will give you quarters, and it's a better way to play basketball. The men's game will probably always keep it because it makes them different. But switch it up. Go do what everyone else is doing in this regard. I think it makes for a better game. And we saw good basketball last night. The margin of victories late doesn't kind of show how those games went in the competitiveness. I think, and I'll talk about it more on the other side. I think LSU kind of ran out of gas, particularly after their first half of high energy and intensity and their ability to attack the boards. They kind of ran out of gas, and Iowa took advantage of it. But we're just getting started here on the show. If you want to call in, talk to Sean and I, obviously do that. Whether you want to tweet, you can do that as well. But if you want to call, 713-780-3776. If you want to tweet at us, at Sean A. Mapes and at Delvey2. We will have sound from Jeremy Peña, who had a big night. And by big night, he finally hit a home run, which he talks about. Ime Udoka talks about maybe the possibility of bringing Şengün back and what it might mean. So we'll get to that as well. And, of course, we'll have Joe Espada discussing the star of the night, Ronel Blanco, who is this the earliest that a no-hitter's been thrown? Did that number come up too? Or stat?
By date.
By date, okay.
There might have been a opening day that was like on the 1st, and then someone threw it on the 3rd. But so not game-wise, I think, I would assume, because that's why people phrase it like that. But by date, this is the earliest anyone's ever thrown.
I saw that, and I was like, yeah, the 5th game of the year, pretty early. But as you pointed out, probably it happened before. But the date, it was April 1st. So,
yeah. No joke. No.
Well said. But before we get to the other stuff, and maybe you have a line on and you feel good about Fromber tonight because he'll be pitching tonight, you can validate that opinion by going to MyBookie. MyBookie is where you place wagers on baseball, basketball, the NBA. The Rockets go to Minnesota. Maybe you feel good about that. Maybe you feel terrible about that. You got Minnesota tonight. But you can place your bets at MyBookie. Just go to mybookie.ag for that. It's your one-stop shop for all your sports betting and casino needs, complete with a real-life experience, Vegas experience, and you can do it from the comfort of your phone. If you sign up now, you can take advantage of a generous welcome bonus on your first deposit, and that goes all the way up to $1,000. So, for example, you put up $200, you get $300 ready to play instantly using promo code BET975, and the fun doesn't stop there. If you're not proficient in gambling, maybe you're not an expert, they give you up to the minute odds, props, and this week's expert predictions to help you decide what to put your money on. And the best part about MyBookie is you can bet on anything, anytime, and from anywhere. Use promo code BET975 to secure your welcome bonus only with MyBookie.
This is the Del Olaleye Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Del Olaleye.
Middle of that game, how efficient he was, the swing he was getting, I started seeing signs of this could be a very special night. His changeup, changing speed, it's a pretty good lineup over there. So it makes the fastball and the slider that much better. The way it comes out of the hand, it looks just like his fastball, and hitters are committed to potentially swing at a fastball, and that ball just kind of falls in the zone, and it's a pitch that he's worked really hard on. It paid big dividends tonight. This guy's been, his story is, fantastic. Like how we sign him from the DR, it's pretty remarkable story. And his journey, he's in front of his family. He's, his mom is here, and to do that in front of the people who love him and support him, it makes this even more special. What a week he's had, and happy for him and his family.
Joe Espada on Blanco, and a remarkable week. You know the story. He pitched against the Space Cowboys, and after a really good outing against the Space Cowboys, Espada told him he would be part of the rotation. And some of it has to do with injury, but he's taking advantage of it. He had a really good spring, and because of what is going on injury-wise with the Astros, we'll have an update on that. We got some good we have some good news on Justin Verlander and Luis Garcia. They both pitched yesterday, and it appears all gone well. So maybe we'll see Verlander here shortly, maybe Luis Garcia earlier than we might have thought. But Blanco's in the lineup because of their absences along with Urquidy, and him in the rotation is more important than you might think, considering how the first four guys did. Now Javier was good; he just didn't get any run support, and then it all fell apart. But to be able to avoid starting 0-5, and then you turn over the rotation to Fromber, and you hope you get a good night from Fromber, and really, I know it's 162, but it was, as I said, like kind of the perfect thing. This guy doing that on a night where people were concerned about the help he might need, considering the fact that Abreu and Hader were not going to be available, and we know how suspect the rest of the bullpen is at the moment. Him going out there and shutting it down and bringing some joy to what has been a relatively joyless start to the year was a big deal, and his story even adds to it. I'm just even looking at the video right now with his family on the field giving him a hug, and certainly the biggest moment of his career, and we'll see what it means for the future as he's 30. Will he be a prominent member of this staff going forward? The odds say no, but for a night, we'll remember Ronel Blanco for this. He goes down in history as just one more Astro pitcher throwing a no-hitter. We are the place where no-hitters happen. And credit to him and credit to the Astros for getting a win. Some other stars from the night. I mentioned Jeremy Peña finally hits a home run. We know it was part of the narrative for him all offseason, considering it had been since July of last year since he hit one. He knows about it. The media knows about it. Every time he lifted a weight in the offseason, people are like, "Oh, I hope it helps you hit a home run." Now, the weightlifting aside, the thirst trap photos aside, he did do some work on his swing, and we'll get to that sound in this segment too. But first, this is Jeremy Peña discussing his reaction to the home run.
I've just been trying to keep putting together good at-bats. We put a lot of work in this offseason, a lot of work in the spring training, and I'm just glad we got that one out the way.
Yeah, and the power for a night came back, but he's had a really good start, hitting over 440 for the season so far. So out of all the negatives so far, Jeremy Peña finding his swing and then topping that off with a homer in his fifth game should be something you can be positive about and maybe look forward to going forward. But that particular albatross no longer exists. He does hit a home run, and we hope we're back to the Peña we saw in 2022. Now, I don't know if we're going to get MVP Peña in the postseason. That'd be great. I know that's what the standard that Jake Myers is being held to by Sean. But a Peña who brings that power back, particularly in the place in the lineup he's hitting. And surely if the power comes back, he might get elevated. But just making the lineup more dangerous from a power perspective would be great. And we know Yainer Diaz is having a great start to his year 2. He is hitting for power. We can blame Dusty for, I guess, last year, if you still hold resentment for Dusty. I mean, at some point we got to let it go, right?
Or we thank Dusty.
That's the other thing. Would Yainer Diaz be so great if Dusty didn't slowly kind of hand feed him Major League Baseball on the level of where the Astros play, where hey, we're not gonna throw you into the deep end, a little bit at a time, just to get you acclimated to what it means to be a major leaguer and play for a franchise like this. Now he's fully ready to go. That's apparently the narrative Dusty was selling last year that a lot of you didn't appreciate.
Yeah, two home runs, caught a no-hitter.
Would he have been able to do that last year without Dusty? He's holding him back?
Dusty Baker should come out and just say, you're welcome. I'm happy for now, Blanco, and you're welcome.
I think Dusty should be like, see what Dean Smith did for Michael Jordan? Now I've got your next GOAT, and it's Yainer. I kept Michael on a leash, held the reins to make sure he was ready to go and explode in the NBA. This is my version of that with Yainer. I don't
Michael
think
Jordan of catching.
Thank you. Just say thank you and good night. I don't know what Dusty's doing now. I thought I saw a report in the offseason that he might.
He's like a consultant, right?
Yeah, for a team. Is it the Giants?
The Giants would make sense because he's a Bay Area guy.
Yeah, because
he coached there too. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Giants.
So the whole Dusty wants to get away from baseball. I mean, that narrative fell apart pretty quickly.
No.
They just didn't want him back here. And
mutual parting of ways. Still.
Was it?
Mutual.
Was it a mutual parting of ways?
We decided that he retired.
We've decided we no longer want him around, is what it was, because he didn't even retire.
I guess he got retired.
Yes, he was put out the pasture, and that pasture was San Francisco, apparently. So thank him, appreciate him. You do have a World Series under him and multiple World Series appearances, and he's cultivated what you see from Yainer Diaz if we're going to be Dusty defenders. So good night all around. The offense was focused on were the college basketball games, the women's games, at least to start. As I said, the Ronel Blanco thing happened, and I was locked in on the Astros the rest of the night. Sean, how much did you see of either game?
I watched a good amount of the first half of the LSU Iowa game, and then once Caitlin Clark kind of closed it out in the third quarter. Also, people giving Caitlin Clark a lot of credit, rightfully so. LSU also went like 11 straight possessions without scoring.
Yeah.
You're going to get blown out, dude.
Yeah. All it takes is a couple jumpers and a backdoor cut. You give them and you don't score.
Now it's a 12-point lead.
It changes things.
Yeah. So, and then once that happened, I, like you, just switched over to the Astros. Once they got up like 6-0, I was like, okay, back burner. And then again, thank you, Brian McTaggart,
for alerting you,
alerting me that a no-hitter was in progress. So then, like around that would have been like the 6th or so inning. That's when I kind of locked in.
I said in the first segment, it felt like LSU ran out of gas. The intensity for them in the first half was up there. They're kind of dominating on the inside. Angel Reese had a really good first half, and then she got banged up on a play when she tried to block a shot for Caitlin Clark, wound up getting called for a foul, banged up her ankle and leg, and kind of was never the same since. She was really, really good early and to counter some of the jump shooting by Clark. And then once her presence kind of went to the wayside and LSU couldn't depend on her to convert in the paint, it changed things. They were less efficient, and they could not match twos with threes. And Iowa's ability to find easy buckets because of the gravity that Caitlin Clark provided was impressive. I know when you don't watch them all the time, you think that's Caitlin Clark and they don't have a lot else. Now they don't recruit the same way that LSU does, and now even USC. Juju Watkins in her game later, and we know Connecticut's long been a team to get major talent. Paige Becker's the latest in that. But the Iowa players, they understand the system. They are playing off the attention that their star attracts, and they'll back cut you. And Caitlin will find them for layups. So that's a well coached team. They know who they are. So I went in there thinking, it's Caitlin and a bunch of plumbers. using terminology we use for, at this point, I guess now 90s basketball. Yeah. we call those guys plumbers. Yeah. But no, that's a good team. They well schooled, and they took advantage anytime LSU kind of made a mistake losing them, as all eyes were on Clark. A lot of shrugging when Caitlin Clark made jumpers. A lot of what do you want me to do? Angel Reese did it one time, and then Haley Van Lith did it a time too, and everyone was cooking her. And the timeline was a lot about, this is equality. When we start cooking a women's basketball player because she can't guard someone,
a like 20-year-old, too, not even like a WNBA player,
a college player.
There's some people that are like, hey, let's not like totally roast college like men's basketball players or college football players. Haley Van Lith got none of that. She got none of that. She was getting both barrels
roasted on the timeline. Everyone's like, see, we've made it. If that can happen, then we know the sport has taken a step. And I appreciated all of it last night. Look, as you said, college athlete, how much do you go in on? But the memes were flying.
People were not holding back.
She provided, like she was getting cooked before because she couldn't guard Caitlin Clark. Shockingly, no one can guard Caitlin Clark, but she was particularly catching it. But then the shrug just added to it.
I think it's also her specific place. Like, we've kind of talked around all it's not even undertones with this game.
Overtones.
The overtones, especially on social media, going on with this game. And so Haley Van Lith found herself in a precarious situation where she was kind of getting it from both sides.
True.
Because, she wasn't... we've said before, talking about the Game of Thrones House of the Dragon, that we're both Team Black.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was that. There was a lot of that last night.
Haley Van Lith found herself on that team too.
The problem it's not even a problem. She spoke out because of what she's seen regarding her black teammates, and she caught it from others who didn't particularly enjoy her viewpoint. And then she caught it because Caitlin Clark was lighting her up. It was not a great, she's probably going to be fine. But as far as the narrative around her, the last 36 hours around Haley Van Lith, it's been kind of weird. And, the thing about her is she led a team to a Final Four. I believe before she transferred, she was the best player on a Louisville team who made a Final Four. And we've all forgotten about it because there are more talented players on her team right now. And Caitlin Clark roasted her ass. But Caitlin Clark's a great player. It's going to happen. When you leave Caitlin Clark one-on-one, stuff like that happens. Me being the expert in women's basketball I am.
Thanks for that.
I've seen enough highlights to know. If you play her one-on-one, bad things will happen to you.
I don't know enough about women's college basketball. I definitely do not know enough about the particulars of this Iowa basketball team. Kim Mulkey could have sent one double.
Yeah.
Could have just at least tried it.
At some point, try to get it out of her hands.
Number 24 and number 10 or whoever these other girls are. Let them try to beat you.
The whole make someone else beat you thing? She doesn't lean into it, apparently. Send a double. Trap her. Something.
I mean, we literally had this conversation yesterday about Ime Udoka not doing that to Luka.
It was the same thing.
But at least Luka has Kyrie Irving on his team.
True. There is no Kyrie equivalent for Iowa.
Or if there is, she must be pissed if there is someone who's an equivalent and is just like
there isn't.
It's all love for Caitlin.
They have another pretty good guard, but it's not Kyrie. Make that young lady beat you. Not the best player in college basketball. Kim Mulkey, bad game plan. I'm gonna say that. And Haley Van Lith is like, why me? You couldn't run a double at any point. Trap the ball.
Just put a different person on
at some point.
Caitlin Clark.
The other thing is that she took an IV. She was sick.
Wow. So she was like fully went Matthew Dellavedova in the finals against Steph Curry.
She was ill. And
in more ways than one. she was trying really hard. B, not working. C, needed an IV.
And Kim Mulkey was like, go out there.
If she dies, she dies.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess she needed she needed Flau'jae to score. Maybe she didn't want to get her in foul trouble, but you got to try something else at some point, particularly when you're not making shots. It was all good in the first half when you're staying with them, but staying with Iowa, but at some point make an adjustment. Kim Mulkey, no adjustments made, and it cost her a chance at another Final Four and defending their title. So UConn wins. They're going to play Iowa, and South Carolina, NC State will play as well. So two schools send both their men's and women's teams to the Final Four. Nice accomplishment for NC State and UConn, except all eyes will be the biggest star in both tournaments will be Caitlin Clark. We'll see if she can finish the deal and win a national title. She'll see UConn, which has been a traditional power, kind of been pushed to the wayside with South Carolina and LSU and Iowa. So good Final Four on both sides. We've got storylines all around. And as we get closer to the weekend, we'll discuss that. Keith, you want to talk about the NFL? We'll get to you when we come back. Way late for a break. Imagine that. Women's basketball got us way past the break. It's a new era where it's actually a story and people know what we're talking about because a lot of people watched those two games last night, particularly the first one. Keith, we see you. We'll get to you when we come back.
You're listening to the Del Olaleye Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Del Olaleye.
We were way past in our last segment, so this will be a short one. Keith wants to talk some NFL, and that's good because the Texans lead the league in something this offseason. We'll get to that after we talk to Keith. What's up, Keith?
Hey, Dale, love the show. Obviously, usually calling to John and Lance this morning. Wasn't able to do that with the doctor's appointment.
Hey, Keith.
Quick note on the women's basketball before my NFL comment.
Okay.
I still think Haley Van Lint's the first-round pick, and the funniest tweet I saw last night was a picture of Ryan Gosling from Remember the Titans and his character, saying, that's HBL against Caitlin Clark. That was pretty funny. But my main point, guys, was...
Keith, hold on. Can I guess this one? Let me guess. Is it about Carson Wentz signing with the Chiefs?
Yep. Dale, you got it. I was at a doctor's appointment, wasn't able to call in, but what do you think, Sean, Dell, Carson Wentz to the Chiefs, Blaine Gabbert's out, Wentz is in as a new backup. What do we think about the move? Do we like the move? What are we thinking?
I think he's a more talented player than Blaine Gabbert. It's an improvement on the backup quarterback. I'm not sure what it means other than the Chiefs will continue to enter seasons praying that Patrick Mahomes never gets hurt. What?
I think it's interesting.
How so?
That Carson Wentz has gotten signed the last 2 years by two of the best offensive minds in the league. Easily top 5, maybe even 2 of the top 3 in Sean McVay and Andy Reid. I feel like that's interesting. Just I don't really know what they see in them, but they obviously
that's disrespectful.
I'm just saying I don't understand football the way that Sean McVay and Andy Reid understand football.
You're not at their level, so you can't see it.
So literally, I don't understand what they see in him.
That's
not disrespect.
He's a fine backup for a couple games. He can go. I don't know if he can win you a game, but he won't lose it. He can lose it. Hold on. Let me amend.
Get through a game without losing.
Let me amend it. He's certainly capable of losing games. We've seen that directly because of what he's doing. But he has the ability to shepherd your offense through a game, and you can go out and win a game with him at quarterback. There are some guys who, no matter what is around them, are going to lose the football game. They're not good enough. They're not competent enough. He is not one of those guys. He's competent enough to win in a 2-game stretch if you need him. And that's what he is right now. And other than that, I don't know what to think of it because if Patrick Mahomes is out for a large stretch of time, the Chiefs are in trouble. They're like a lot of teams in this league whose starter is much better than the backup. And in Patrick Mahomes' case, he's much better than starters and most starters in the league. So it's a fine option for the Chiefs for a backup quarterback. They probably have bigger concerns at wide receiver right now for multiple reasons.
What? No, they had a breakout star last year.
Okay.
I haven't heard much about him since.
Oh yeah, no news. No news about Rashee Rice.
But it seems to me that they found their next Tyreek Hill.
I know what you're doing there.
No, yeah.
Their next Tyreek Hill.
A number 1 option.
That's the only thing you mean. Their next Tyreek Hill. What do you mean, Sean? Rashee Rice. And
talented player.
A lot of trouble. We'll see how that plays out. But that car is registered to him, which is a problem. And if he is the driver of that car, it's even a bigger. If he was the driver of the car at that time, even a bigger problem. So Rashee Rice in a bit of trouble. That speaks to Keith. Let's talk about the Chiefs and call about Carson Wentz. Not about what they might need to do at wide receiver, but he loves street free agents, and Carson Wentz finds another job. Carson Wentz is only 31 years old. It feels like he's 36 because of his timeline.
I was thinking about all the other teams that he played on when I was making my case that the greatest football minds for some reason gravitate to him.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, oh, I guess he played in Washington. That doesn't really count. There's no one there. And then I was like, oh, I forgot it. And then when we were talking about him losing games, I was thinking about him on the Colts. Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, Frank Reich, too.
Yeah, Frank Reich liked him.
He's not like, Andy Reid or anything.
The connection, Frank Reich was on that staff when Carson Wentz was in Philly. So when Frank Reich got that job, and he brought along Carson Wentz at some point, and
didn't go well.
That didn't work out. That's why Frank Reich doesn't have that job. And another reason he doesn't have a job is because they selected the wrong quarterback in Carolina. It's been a rough run for Frank Reich. Remember when he was going for like 4th and 1s and setting the tone for his team and going, this is how we're going to play. And everyone's like, you know what? That didn't work out, but we appreciate the way you do things. We like your philosophy. Ever since that point, been a bit of a low point, and it's been low tide for Frank Reich. Hasn't been the same since, really. Don't ever bank on Carson Wentz. It's a bad idea. It's kind of you think about that guy's career since his second year in the league where he was an MVP candidate and got hurt and Nick Foles came on and won the Super Bowl. Can you think of a bigger regression from a guy who everyone thought was a star to what he is now, a confirmed journeyman?
Oh, well, he's not a confirmed journeyman, but Deshaun Watson is close.
Yeah.
As far as level of play. Obviously, his contract locked in.
He ain't got to worry about that. There are certainly mitigating factors concerning Deshaun, but yeah.
That's the only other one.
That's a fall from grace, maybe unlike any other, considering what he was thought to be before all those things happened. But as far as just strictly football.
Even on the football field, he's way worse.
But you can attribute, if you want to be, not that anyone needs to be kind to Deshaun, but if you want to think of it beyond football, maybe everything that is weighing on him has turned him into a bad football player. Yeah. What does Carson Wentz have in that way to explain what's going on since that season?
Yeah, no, I don't. I hope he committed a lot of crime. No, wait, no, I don't.
That would explain things.
For his sake, I hope he committed.
Maybe he just had a heater. Maybe he had a Joe Flacco type heater.
Yeah. But Flacco was never thought of in that. Like, even as he was doing it, people were like, this is incredible that Joe Flacco is doing this.
Carson Wentz said, Flacco did it the back half of a year and into the playoffs.
Yeah, no one, actually rated him, though, that high.
That's true. Carson Wentz, as a young player, particularly where he was drafted, people thought, okay. Yeah. Eagles got a great quarterback, and he hasn't been the same since, really. And now he's the backup for the Chiefs. And we were going to talk about the Texans and what they're number one in, but we devolved into Wentz talk for somehow, some way. I blame Keith for that. We are once again way late for a break. But when we come back, we'll talk some Texans because, as I said, they're leading the league in this category, and it ties into an article in the Chronicle I want to get to as well. So when we come back, we will talk Texans and what they're doing to maybe change their projections for the rest of the offseason. We'll be back.
Broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, it's the Del Olaleye Show.
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Now back to Del Olaleye.
Welcome back. People, when you tweet me and ask about the previous show's podcast, generally if we have an intern, it'll be up really quickly. Yesterday, we didn't have one, and instead of going back and forth or trying to put it up between breaks, I just waited, so it went up later. So if the John and Lance podcast shows up in your feed at about 12:10, 12:15, it's because I didn't have an intern. So I'm letting you know right now. Today we have Brett. He was in. He'll be in through Thursday, so you'll be good. You'll be good. Don't worry about it. Friday, I don't think you'll be good. I think Lexi is out, so I'll have to do it, and then it'll show up afternoon. Legitimately, afternoon. After 12:10, 12:15, something like that. But the podcast will be up for you to enjoy. I mentioned before the break the Texans are number one in something this offseason. Sure, we've seen them get A's and A pluses and A minuses from different publications grading their offseason, but this one, unequivocally, they're number one in. Guaranteed money being spent. They have spent the most guaranteed money this offseason, $144.5 million. Now, it's come in drips and drabs the last couple signings, not exactly news-breaking, not exactly headlines, but we know they gave Mixon money. They gave Dalton Schultz money, big money, and Danielle Hunter got his money too. And, of course, Al-Shaair got his money as well. So if you thought the Texans weren't going to spend, or maybe you did, but you take issue with how they spent it, just know this ain't a Jim Crane thing where free agents leave and we get upset because all the guys we know no longer stay. The Texans let some guys go, but they replaced them, and they spent big money on them. Now, the correlation between spending money in the offseason and that working out generally doesn't play out. So the Texans are going to put that to the test. But I did this. I didn't do the story, but I read the story yesterday about their PFF grades as far as the impact of their rookies. They had the number one rookie class, and a lot of that had to do with Will Anderson, Tank, and of course CJ. You know, and they had rookie guards and rookie interior linemen play. They didn't grade out particularly well, but they played a lot of snaps. And I believe when I read out the list, all of the top teams who were teams who made the playoffs as far as how impactful the rookie class is. Free agency doesn't generally have that type of impact, but we'll see with Danielle Hunter replacing Jonathan Grenard. And in this article, it talks about what D'Amico told Danielle Hunter. And if you a guy who likes to rush the passer, it's pretty perfect. He said, don't worry about dropping back. Don't worry about dropping back in the coverage. All you're going to do is get upfield and rush the passer. Danielle Hunter's sold.
Hell yeah.
I don't have to worry about covering anybody. I can just get after the quarterback. I'm in.
That's for the birds. Let's rush them.
All that hybrid stuff. I'll drop in the coverage to give the quarterback a different look. That's garbage.
No, sir.
Let me get after the quarterback. So he was in. We know about he allegedly, that's the reporting, that he took less money to come here and he's a local guy. But the topper, all you're doing is going forward, Danielle. Don't worry about those responsibilities of playing the pass. All we want you to do is hit the quarterback. So that'll be what we see from Danielle Hunter. So, you know, a lot of NFL fans, when they see a pass rusher drop back in coverage, it's the worst thing to ever happen. God forbid a rush end or an outside linebacker be in coverage when all you want him to do is rush a quarterback. You don't have to worry about that here. Will Anderson, I don't know if he said that to Will Anderson, but he did say it to Danielle Hunter. Just go make plays on the quarterback, and we'll see how the high-priced man, the leader of the pack as far as guaranteed money, does.
Yeah. Hey, you don't pay a guy 49 or 50.
48 of 49, wasn't it?
Yeah, 48 of 49 $1 million guaranteed to go, defend the slot.
Look, Danielle.
Yeah.
If you want $49 million guaranteed, you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to play slot receivers a little bit, not in zone. We're not gonna ask you to do it in man.
Maybe cover a running back going out to the flat.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. But
no thanks.
But if you take the 48, all you gotta do is rush the passer, buddy. And Danielle's like, I'll take the 48. I'll take the 40. Don't make me. The $1 million, whatever. I'd probably lose that in fines anyway. Trying to cover guys, horse collaring them, trying to bring them down. So I'm not gonna do that. So Danielle Hunter, going forward, and D'Amico in the article, and this isn't the article, he was at the owners meeting, so they're just grabbing quotes from his time there. He talks about why he signed guys. Daniil Hunter, he signed him because he wanted him the rest of the passer. Aziz Al-Shair, he brought him in because of his leadership and style of play. We know they had a connection in San Francisco. He wasn't their starter except for 1 year when there was an injury to, I believe it was Dre Greenlaw was hurt for an extended amount of time. So that's when Aziz Al-Shair got extended run as a starting linebacker, and then he moved to Tennessee to prove that he could be a linebacker, and that worked out for him. He got his deal. He'll be in town to partly replace Blake Cashman. It's not a like-for-like thing, but Cashman out, Aziz Al-Shair in. He'll team up with Christian Harris to man the middle, and you hope that's a fast, impactful unit. And we know what Christian Harris is like when he's covering guys in the flat and getting to the sideline. He had a big jump last year, and you hope with him and Al-Shair, you kind of solidify your linebacker core. The center of the defense, as far as the defensive tackle position in question, we'll see if that's addressed through the draft. And, of course, safety you might still be concerned about as well. So some holes to fill. We know the Texans have used money to fill some of them, but they can't take care of it all, and we'll see. With the cap space they've generated because of restructures, what that might mean. The Chronicle has an article about it. Well, I'll probably talk about that in the second hour. The Chronicle has some ideas about what the Texans might do. Some of the stuff we talked about here, but we'll go over it again. But when we come back, we'll get back to the Astros. We will hear from Joe Espada once again, and we'll also hear from Jeremy Peña. He talks about we heard him talk about. Well, we know he has relief from finally hitting a home run. He reworked that swing. We'll hear from him talk about that. Brian McTaggart posed those questions to him about the home run and the swing, because that was the concern. So Peña has an answer and who he worked with. It wasn't Reggie Jackson. I know we saw one picture of him hanging out with Reggie Jackson, but he did not credit Reggie Jackson for his change of swing, and it's worked, man. The early returns for his reworking of the swing, can't complain. He's been really good, and the power returned yesterday. All we can do is hope that is something that's going to continue, and we can have a Jeremy Peña that reminds us of 2022 and certainly that 2022 postseason run. But before we close out the first hour of the show, I want to talk about Aqueduct Plumbing Company. Go to aqueductplumbingcompany.com. Look, I'm a person who uses a website, but if you want to call, you can do that too at 281-488-6238. They are your local plumbers, and what they want you to know is about the repiping. Repiping, it sounds like some of you probably don't even know what it means. Well, you should have been listening to me, because repiping will take out your bad pipes. It'll prevent bad water, dirty, stinky water. Once that gets into your home, it's sometimes a smell you can never get rid of. So be preventative. Have your pipes checked with Aqueduct Plumbing Company. They have done over 1,000 repipings, so you know they're experts. And if you call that number, they'll give you a free best price quote, and it'll be the best price quote in town, and it's free. They don't charge you for that. So once again, 281-488-6238 for that price quote, and they're local. So if you want people who care about the people in the area, Aqueduct Plumbing Company is the plumbing company for you. Plumbers sometimes have a bad reputation. These guys do not. They've done great work for John and Lance. They will do great work for you. Remember, aqueductplumbingcompany.com. That's aqueductplumbingcompany.com. Welcome back to the show. The Astros finally get a win thanks to a no-hitter from Blanco and a lineup who exploded. 10-0, easy win over the Blue Jays, and that was welcome because it had been a lot of disappointment, whether it be taking a lead early and letting the Yankees kind of track you down or having a Yankee make a defensive play late that prevented you from tying a game. None of that last night. Easy, and all the drama was about doing something historic, and Blanco finished the deal. Thanks to a couple plays by Jose Abreu, the one to rob Biggio of a hit was great, and then he kind of saved Dubon. Like it wasn't a great play by Abreu, but Dubon almost smoked that throw. He almost threw that ball away in what should have been an easy throw, and they had a kind of a laugh about it. You can watch, if you watch the replay, you will see them kind of laughing at each other as Abreu made a couple plays in the ninth inning to preserve the no-hitter. So the Astros 1-4 in the year. They have Framber coming up. And my question to you, Sean, is where are we ranking our confidence in Framber? Framber Valdez has a reputation of being a legitimate potential ace for the Astros, stretching back to 2022. 2023, not so much. And game 1 of 2024 didn't bring much confidence considering he was struggling to get through innings, and then he eventually couldn't get through one as he blew up and couldn't get through 5. So Framber's your number 1. So Verlander comes back. I have an update on Verlander after this discussion. If we're going from 1 to 10, 1 being, oh no, Montero's out there, to 10, 2019 Cole or Verlander, where are we ranking Framber?
Probably, I mean, it speaks to how up and down he is, but probably like a 5. Probably a 5, and then sometimes I can just kind of feel it in my bones that it's going to be a bad one. So maybe even maybe like a 4, but it's not a lot of confidence going in there. Every good start, every clean couple of innings, like even the opening day against the Yankees, until that last inning, I was thinking like, okay, this hasn't been too bad for Framber. He hasn't been visibly like shaken on the mound. So he's got now some tight some jams. But at no point was I like, he is in control of this game. At no point does that happen. And honestly, I don't know how many good starts he has to put back to back to back until that feeling comes back that, oh yeah, Framber, he's got this,
So
I'm pretty low.
You're probably Presley with a 1-run lead in the ninth.
I think I have more faith in Presley.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with a 1-run lead. So that's where are you at with Presley in that scenario? Like a 7?
Probably like a 6, 7.
Okay, so just a little bit of Framber.
Yeah, but I trust. I mean,
Ryan
Presley,
2024 Presley.
Good. Well, we haven't seen him. We haven't seen
in
him
that situation. Maybe he can only
he's better. In
maybe he can only close games. Maybe like Ken Giles had that. Ken Giles went before he moved on to Toronto, and even considering he had like a long streak of being perfect in closing games, but anytime else he was terrible.
Yeah.
So maybe Presley's a guy who needs to be in a situation where he closes. Unfortunately for Presley, and I guess for the Astros, if that's the scenario, we're screwed because that's Hader's job unless he's unavailable, which he was last night. But we didn't need Presley because of what Blanco did. Yeah. So
ace performance by Blanco. Save our bullpen from ourselves.
Blanco, the stopper.
Yeah, hey,
he was last night.
Did literally everything you wanted.
Yeah, he gave you everything.
Everything you would want, like Framber to do, he did.
He kept Montero off the field. He kept Taylor Scott off the field. He kept Mashinsky off the field, and he didn't force Presley into a save situation. The perfect night for the Astros, and they hit the baseball, which was great too. I said I'd update you on Verlander. He threw 52 pitches yesterday, threw 3 innings, which isn't that efficient, but at least he's out there. And now the next step for him is a minor league rehab assignment. So we're getting closer and closer. The projection was he'd be available to pitch for the Astros like April 11th if you kind of time it out from the time he went on the IL. So we're still making progress towards, and no definitive date because that's just how things go. But we're making progress there. And Luis Garcia, there's some good news there. He threw 15 pitches, which means he's ahead of schedule. The thought was he'd come back in June or July, and that's certainly the scenario with Lance McCullers as well. Appears Lance McCullers just right on schedule. We haven't heard much of an update on him, so, and by that I mean expect Lance in July, hopefully. And that's always kind of the words you use when we talk about Lance McCullers. Hopefully he's back, and what he is when he comes back, who knows? Is he even in the rotation at that point? It'll be mid-June or July, so maybe there'll be a spot for him depending on the health of the others, or the play of the others. But he's a guy you just is in your back pocket and you hope he shows up. Who can depend on him right now? And maybe Luis Garcia beats him back, which would bolster the Astros bullpen as they're still hoping Urquidy returns as well. But Verlander seems the closest, and all we're hearing are positive updates on him. So we hope that continues. I talked a lot about Jeremy Peña before we closed out hour one. He is a guy who has started off really well. The home run was a cherry on top of a good 5-game start to his year. Here is Peña talking about the work he did to kind of change that swing.
You know, in the spring, like I said, we put in a lot of work. Troy Snigger, Centrone, Rene Rojas, we got to work. And it's just kind of keeping that throughout the whole season, you know, maintaining the routine and then going from there.
Jeremy Peña, last night talking to the media after his night, which included a home run, and the change in swing appears to be something that is working out. We know, and we always hear stories about players who had struggles in the offseason, what they're doing to fix it. The swing for Peña, putting on muscle for Bregman, one of those is working, the other one is not. But the Bregman thing, putting on weight, losing weight, no matter what, a slow start. That's what Bregman is. And in a contract year, is it good for the Astros that he got off? No, it's not good. It's not good because you want him to be good. You want him to be great to help you go win a World Series. But it's no surprise. I don't know how you explain it other than not a lot of live pitches. But it's a thing that I won't say has troubled him, but it's just we come to expect it. We come to expect Lance McCullers to not be available. We come to expect Alex Bregman to not hit early. And despite all the changes that he might have made, that continues to be the case. So we do the whole baseball caveat. We understand it. Very early, Bregman has a history of showing up, and we just hope that continues. Why is Martin Maldonado trending on my...
You know why.
I know why. It's the hate for Dusty and Yiner being really, really good. You're right. I do know why.
You know exactly why.
You know the answer to that question before you asked it.
Come on. Yeah, we started talking about the
hate.
The hate. Yeah, no, tough look for Dusty and Martin Maldonado last night. I cannot deny that it's a tough look.
Did you think about them at all when it was going on? Like, I can't believe Dusty did this to me.
I think not like that, but I did think it's funny that Yiner Diaz in his 5th game as the starting catcher for the Astros has caught a no-hitter when that was like one of the big Martin Maldonado feathers in the cap.
That the pitchers love throwing to him.
Yeah, it's like the 5th starter loves throwing to Yiner Diaz.
True.
You can't even do the of course.
It was Verlander.
Verlander can throw no-hitter to me, you know?
Yeah, even though he does prefer Maldonado. But, I kind of hold people to the fire for this because let it go, but it's only been 5 games. That's the other side of the coin. It really only has been 5 games. We haven't even gotten into May. So maybe I'm accepting of the Dusty slander until like May. But if we're deep in the May, do we really need to continue this conversation?
Yeah, like if Yiner, because it looks pretty likely at this point. I know it's 5 games, but Yiner might make the All-Star team as the catcher. That I feel like is going to be the rekindling of some of it, being like, this guy.
So the problem
All-Star.
is
He was already an All-Star last year. We just didn't get to see it.
The problem is Dusty already laid the groundwork when he told you you'd thank him. Like, this is all because I spoon-fed him Major League Baseball and plate appearances and being a catcher, so he was fully ready to go.
Yeah, see how good he is? The Dusty system worked.
This is why Dusty's a smart man. You can come at me all you want, but I told you would this would happen. You just needed to wait, and I set him up for success.
I like that Dusty Baker is Batman at the end of The Dark Knight, where he's like, "I pin it all on me.
Yeah,
I'll be the one that people hate, and then I'll go into the darkness. I'll go away.
I'll go. Yeah, and by darkness we mean go consult with the
so
giants.
that Harvey Dent can stay clean.
Yeah, how'd that work out for Harvey Dent?
Not
turned into Two-Face.
I guess wait. I don't know who's Harvey Dent in this.
Is it Joe Espada? Is he Harvey Dent?
Sure. And Commissioner Gordon is Yainer Diaz. Got
it. Dana Brown's Commissioner Gordon.
Oh.
He is.
I was just trying to think of, Batman kind of made Commissioner Gordon's whole career, just like Dusty did with Yainer. You're welcome again, Dusty, by the way.
No, it's thank you. It's not your welcome.
Oh, yeah,
thank you.
He's saying you're welcome.
Yeah, Dusty. Yeah, Batman is saying you're welcome. Dusty would just like you to say thank you. But Dusty Baker didn't have a lot to do with last night unless you buy into his theory. But all we really saw was an Astros team who we think is really, really talented get their first win of the year and do it in historic fashion as another no-hitter is thrown. Coming up on the other side, I love when NBA players no longer have to adhere to rules because they're ex-NBA players. And Jeff Teague may be at the top of the list when it comes to this. Jeff Teague is a fantastic podcaster, mostly because he just says anything he wants. And referees and officials have been a part of the conversation really all season long in the NBA. We know Rudy Gobert did the whole money sign to an official, got a big fine. Maybe more than ever this year, we've had players be very vocal about their dislike for calls and what officials are competent or not. Well, Jeff Teague, no longer in the NBA, can't get fined, but he did have some rather slanderous things to say about a guy I haven't heard too much slander about. So we'll hear from Jeff on the other side, and we'll talk about it too. We'll be back.
The Del Olaleye Show continues.
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's your host, Del Olaleye.
Welcome back to the show. Sean, how many officials can you name, like NBA refs can you name, besides Scott Foster?
Scott Foster, Tony Brothers. There's a lot that I can visually ID, but as far as like names themselves, yeah. I mean, Joey Crawford back in the day.
Yes.
But
Bennett Salvatore.
The guy that Charles Barkley raced, Dick Bavetta. Yeah. So not many current ones. All of those guys retired other than Tony Brothers.
So for some reason, I remember Haywood Workman. I don't know if he's still a ref, but he became a ref. The former Indiana Pacer guard.
Oh, you got Ed Malloy and Ken Maurer?
Yeah, Ed Malloy. That's one. Yeah, Ken Maurer, too. I bring it up because we barely know them by name. We certainly don't know a lot about their actions unless it's Scott Foster and his long and storied rivalry versus Chris Paul, which is amazing. The NBA has allowed that to, hey, we know you have a unadulterated hate for one of our players. Keep being an official.
Not just keep being an official. Keep reffing his games.
Yeah, and everyone knows about his playoff record when you're reffing his games, but we're going to keep sending you out there. They don't care. So I don't know anything about Tony Brothers. Jeff Teague illuminated me about Tony Brothers. Tony Brothers apparently is a personality on the court. All I know about him is he's got, as Jeff Teague said, those big-ass eyebrows. Jeff Teague said it, and I'm just reiterating it because he's right. But this is from the 520 podcast, and Tony Brothers called women that were cheering for Jeff Teague a hoe. I say hoe because they bleeped that out, but for some reason they didn't bleep out the S word, and I had to do that myself. So this is the context. Jeff Teague's a young player. He'll explain that. And Tony Brothers saw people rooting for him and said, who are those hoes? So that's why Jeff Teague goes into what happened afterwards. Here it is.
I ain't gonna lie, one ref, though, some with the big-ass eyebrows, Tony Brothers.
Oh, yeah. He said with the eyebrows.
Man, so was trying to be cool. I don't like him either. I was a youngin'. My mama, we playing at the Pacers on the Hawks. My mama and my aunt Niecy was sitting courtside. You know, they cheering every time I came in the game, whatever. I was young. I was probably my first, second year. Man, he like pulled me to the side. He was like, man, who the I lost it. I went crazy.
God.
And he was like apologizing. I was like, that's my mama, you blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna start going crazy. And he like kept apologizing. Like nah. But if you know him, he be trying to be like cool.
Yeah.
So, like, he be like, y'all motherfuckers ain't doing nothing tonight. Try to be that kind of person. And then he'll turn into a like, in the middle of the game. Like, that's why when I see people, like, I call him a TikToker. And he text him. He'll do like that. He'll be trying to be cool with you. Be like, look at that big booty girl over there. And then when you be like, hey, call motherfucker. So I'm like, I ain't with him either.
That's crazy, bro.
He was a weirdo. When he said that, I went so crazy, bro. I was like, I'll slap shit. I said that I would slap the shit out you, bro.
Jeff Teague. Who knew Tony Brothers was like that? Who knew? Talking about big booty girls and calling players moms and sister or what niece? What did you say? Sister or auntie?
I think it was his mom, his aunt, and his niece maybe.
A hoe. Jeff Teague was in Atlanta at the time, so I guess Tony Brothers just assumed just random thoughts were cheering on Jeff Teague.
If there's a woman at a game in Atlanta,
she gotta
cheering
be
for Jeff Teague.
She gotta be
rookie Jeff Teague.
Nah, she gotta be one of them. Not his mom. Not his mom. Not his niece. Not his aunt.
The idea of just being like, who are these hoes?
Who are them? Who are these rooting for you? Yeah, I understand.
God,
going off.
We need Jeff Teague. Man, he tells some stories.
He does.
He's like the perfect level of NBA player to have a podcast because he was like a role player but had been around for so long and with so many different teams that he has stories about everyone, but he also doesn't have like a legacy to protect in any way.
He can say whatever he
doesn't
wants.
have to like he doesn't have to, make his own myths like some other guys have to do. It's just like, no, I know I'm Jeff Teague. It's like basically every story is I know I'm Jeff Teague.
He can openly talk about championship or get paid. Man, get paid. He can openly be that guy and that's just Jeff Teague. No one's gonna hold him to the fire for not devoting his NBA career to winning a title.
No one's going to be like, and that is why Jeff Teague was never a winner. It's like, no one cares.
No one cares.
He played in Atlanta and Indianapolis.
He was on that one Atlanta team who had like 4 All-Stars because they won like 50 games.
Yeah.
And then LeBron dispatched them like he always did.
He told the story where he told LeBron, he was like, I got you tonight. It's like, every bucket you get, I'm getting. Or something. He was something like that. He was like, we're going to have to go shot for shot with me. And he was like, yeah. LeBron ended up with like a 40-point triple-double. And they're like, how much did you have? He said 14 points.
And he did win a title, though. He was on that 2021 Milwaukee team.
Yeah.
So he did get one. He was a guy who even then talked about, man, I ain't listen. I'm just trying to get buckets. I was hoping guys are out so I can go play.
Yeah, that's another one he said. He was like, I loved it when guys missed time.
Yeah, man, I can go get mine. He didn't play a lot in that season, but he was on the team, got a championship ring. He can say he's a champion. He did play in all the finals games, so he can to a tune of 1.5 points and 0.8 rebounds. But he did play
because Giannis was on the court,
and Drew Holiday was on the court too. He wasn't going to get a lot of time, but Jeff Teague, one of the best podcasters out there, because he'll just say stuff. And shout out to Tony Brothers.
No shout out to Tony Brothers.
Who are those hoes? to Jeff Teague, and it's his mom.
The fact that he changes, the fact that he's like, like what Jeff Teague was saying, that he acts like he's cool with you, and then you ask about a foul call, and he texts you for it. That's not cool.
There's a squiggly line that Tony Brothers has drawn in the sand that you don't know where it begins and where it ends.
No, he might call. I mean, in his defense, he didn't know.
He did not know
that there's his mom and his family. But
even though
on the other hand,
maybe don't talk to the player and go, who are those gardening tools? Maybe don't do that. Just be safe, because as you pointed out, he's a young player. Maybe, just maybe, that's his family attending the game. You never know.
You just never know. I'd just be open to the possibility.
Yeah, I cut off a part of that. It's at the very end. It's a lot more beeps and stuff. But Jeff Teague told that story to his teammates. And they're like, hey, report him to the league, because apparently Tony Brothers is not well liked. Jeff Teague's teammates on Atlanta wanted that to get to the league.
Paul Millsap was trying to
upset. Josh Smith, maybe.
Al Horford probably known to please.
I hope Kyle Korver was the most upset.
Kyle Korver's like, he said the same thing about my mom.
Who are them snow bunnies?
Saying that to Kyle Korver is very funny.
And Kyle Korver had to look it up. What does that mean? He had to go to Urban Dictionary and try to figure out what that meant.
He had to ask one of his teammates,
hey,
probably.
The ref with the big-ass eyebrows just called my mom a snow bunny. What does that mean?
Huh?
Oh, well, Kyle, let me show you what that means.
Then Allen Iverson had to explain it to him.
Yeah, you're not going to like this, Kyle. What Tony Brothers said about your mom.
His rookie year, he's straight from Creighton. He
has no idea what that means.
Never heard that kind of talk before.
And you got what he thinks is an established ref making that joke. Well, Tony Brothers, one of those who will switch up on you and say inappropriate things. I thank Jeff Teague for that story, because every time I see Tony Brothers from now on, that's what I'm going to think about. Who knew? Yeah, the Chris Paul TikTok thing came out, and, it kind of passes by because there's always something. But Jeff Teague added a little spice, and I appreciate him. Tony Brothers. Certainly a ref that has a personality, and now I know. Thank you to Jeff Teague. We got a couple more segments to go here. Let's actually try to get out on time. We're late still, but better than what we've been. As I said, a couple more segments to go on the show. We'll get some more Texan stuff and what they're possibly trying to clear cap space for. The Chronicle has that. A couple other things to get to as well. We'll be back.